A big hello and a very warm welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 8 with me, Sonali Krishna. We're continuing our focus on COVID-19 impact, and hence the theme of today's show is also that. I'm joined by a very special guest today. He's R S Subramanian, the Managing Director of DHL Express. As you know, a leader in logistics, I think this interview is very pertinent in terms of Mr. Subramanian giving us a perspective of how logistics has been impacted during this health crisis and, of course, the future. So thank you so much for joining us on the program, Mr. Subramanian.
Thank you.
First things first, Mr. Subramanian, it's been a tough 2.5 months or so and counting. What has been your experience in handling logistics, which has been one of the most impacted sectors because of COVID-19?
It is impacted not because of COVID-19, possibly because of the lockdown. But I think it is also the most, in a sense, critical sectors. But I would like to share our experience. I think when the COVID situation developed into a lockdown late in March, I think our first focus was how do we balance all the three stakeholders of your business. You know, your employees come first, then your customers, and then your business has to run if you have to take care of both. So I think we did a few things which has helped us. I think straight away our focus was on getting our people first or safety first. Significant amount of communication awareness building we had to do with our teams. We had to lay down protocols on how our operations will work in a pandemic situation in terms of use of PPE kits and the hygiene and sanitization of the facilities and getting the social distancing norms, then your screening protocol, because our team meets a variety of people in a given day, and therefore one, we had to take care of ourselves, we had to ensure that we take care of our customers and the people whom we come into contact with. So therefore, I think we've had a good run in the last 2.5, 3 months, 70 days of lockdown. Now we are on unlock day 1. I think, but for a few days initially, I think our network has been going from strength to strength in terms of coming back into shape. As we speak now, our entire operation around the country is fully operational. Yeah. So therefore, we are ready, and now the challenge will be for us to manage social distancing norms, staffing norms, local regulatory requirements, and match our capacity and deployment to the extent to which the market and the customers are opening. Yeah, it's going to be gradual opening up, and the balancing between demand and supply is going to be critical to us.
Absolutely. Mr. Subramanian, it's going to be tough times ahead, especially for small businesses. And given that small businesses account for about 70% of your business, what is the kind of feedback you're getting from small businesses? Because, you know, as one of the largest logistics company, you have your ear to the ground. And B, what will be the kind of impact DHL will have? Because small businesses are almost, in coma.
Yeah, see, as DHL Express, we have a large footprint on the small and medium enterprises. One rider is possibly the subset of small and medium enterprises who have an international footprint as well, who import and export, and therefore they are in touch with the global markets. If you ask me, the small and medium enterprises footprint which we have, to some extent surprised us a bit, because I think they are coming back faster. Yeah, they're coming back faster than I would have expected them in a given pandemic situation. The limitations are, I think, known to everybody. The limitations are, they are limited by, to start with, manpower, getting the kind of labor and their employees back in shape. There are limitations in terms of how the supply chain, when it gets snapped up, different things get into frozen state in different places, and therefore connecting the dots and bringing back to normal is a challenge. I think working capital is an uniform problem for everybody. There's no surprise in that. But the more organized of the SME are coming back into shape. At this point in time, I would think 50% of our customers are already up and running in our observation. So therefore, this has been increasing by the day and by the week through April into May. and I will not be surprised if June is more positive than April or May. But currently, I think the pickup and the willingness to come back to work and get going, there is a lot of eagerness with SMEs, and in my view, they've been slightly faster than I would have expected.
Well, that's really heartening to hear, Mr. Subramanian, and I would like to focus on that piece of news that you're saying that SMEs, you've seen a resurgence of sorts, which is great. Could you give me some more details on that? Which sectors are you seeing SMEs springing up and getting back to action? Because from what we're hearing on ground, they're really struggling for working capital, for labor and all of that. So it's what we're hearing is that the on-ground reality seems to be a bloodbath of sorts. So if I'm hearing from you that you're actually seeing 50% or so spring up, that's very, very heartening to hear. So if you could just get into the details of that, please.
Okay, see, from an Air Express point of view, the kind of customers we manage throughout April and into May, even in March, I think the life sciences, pharmaceutical sector was never closed. Yeah, they were in operation. We see the one set of people who are completely into PPE kit manufacturing, people who are into in the COVID sector, if you can call it. So I think they are all up and running very, very fast. And there are a lot of people who have entered into this because it's a short-term opportunity. It's an opportunity to use their capacity to manufacture masks and kits, etc. There's quite a lot of people who moved into that, and we saw them up and running very, very fast. Yeah. But otherwise, the e-commerce sector, especially the international e-commerce players, have woken up fast. Geographically speaking, I think there is a north and south especially have picked up. Variety of industries in south is now operational, be it engineering, manufacturing, or the electronic industry, or people in the pharma and chemical allied industries. All the export-oriented productions have come back. I won't say there is a resurgence and therefore there is a significant amount of demand going out. But do I see them closed or do I see them operational? More often than not, they've now begun to start operating, which is the 50% I'm saying. So therefore, it's not a lockdown condition; it's an open condition. People are making effort to come back into start their business and get it running. And I see them at least 50% of the industry is now beginning to operate, and most of them are operating at 30 to 40% levels. So it is a positive sign for me. It's not a complete no. I think it has improved over the last 15-20 days.
Sure. I also want a sense from you in terms of, how export and import will be looking going forward. We know that DHL was working very closely with small businesses to ensure, they have smooth functioning in global trade, also giving them that footprint. All of that will change a bit right now, don't you think? What's been that impact so far?
See, from what we've seen in the last 2 to 3 months, I think the DHL's global network is up and running as strong as it ever was. Yeah, the entire full air network and in almost all countries, the ground network is fully operational. But for a few countries where there are lockdowns or there is some amount of limitations on the ground, the DHL network on the air and on the ground is fully operational. We see in the last 5-6 weeks, it is fully operational and running to full capacity. Yeah, the fact is that in the short run, there is significant amount of COVID-related movement, emergency supplies happening, PPEs and kits and COVID kits and testing machines and ventilators, whole host of items moving and related medicine and supporting chemicals which is moving, and that's taken up significant amount of the volume which is moving around. But I think industry everywhere post a COVID lockdown or a pause in most countries is coming back into shape. As they say, trade is self-healing, right? There have been a lot of talk about what will happen to globalization, what will happen to because of the controls which individual countries want to exercise. We still feel eventually globalization will prevail. Yeah? This globe is connected significantly, and the The gains of the last 2 decades is not going away in a hurry. There might be some short-term pauses where individual countries and geographies are battling the effect of pandemic and COVID. But I think the globalization process are strong enough and it has benefited the global economy significantly and will come back into shape. The other point which is most talked about is are global companies and businesses looking for alternative sources? Yeah, are they spreading their bets? There is a talk about some businesses moving away from China. I think the jury is out on that. Yeah, if you look at volumes which DHL is handling, volume is as high as ever ex-China, and there is significant congestion and complete consumption of the air capacity. But those effects which you are asking me will come into visibility only over a period of, in the medium term, we will see it. We will not see it in the short run. But we think that the patterns may not significantly change. Globalization is here to stay. Some alternative sourcing arrangements, opportunities will come up. The real point here is, I think, for an Indian entrepreneur, Indian SME, I think a short window has opened in the next 6 to 12 months for them to take advantage of becoming a manufacturing base, sole manufacturing base, or an alternate manufacturing base. And this is where I think the effort should come in. People who are standing now and who are looking at it with a positive outlook and who have the ambition, I think the window is open for Indian entrepreneurs.
Unfortunately, with the opportunity and ambition, one also needs working capital and sustaining power, which I think on ground today seems to be a bit of a problem, despite the government's efforts in terms of their relief packages. I think the jury is also out on that in terms of how that will pan out. But having said that, I also want to talk to you about what DHL is doing for SMEs at large, in the Indian context, and please feel free to share with me any case studies that you have from, let's say, other countries, given that you're such a large global player. I know that, you've been raising your prices. There have been price hikes every year since 2010, and you did so as well, and, understandably so, in the beginning of the year of 2020. But then, of course, we didn't know that we had this impending crisis at hand. Now that we do know that the small businesses are really on the verge of collapse, are you looking at reworking your packages for SMEs so that, there is some oxygen that goes back into those businesses? Are you also looking at remodeling your outreach programs?
Yeah, I always said that pricing needs to be measured against the value you bring to the business. Yeah. And all of us act and work in a context, and we will not be able to charge more than what value we can generate for the SME. At any given point in time, all our customers have alternatives, and they have sometimes cheaper alternatives. But they come to DHL because DHL delivers the kind of assurance, reliability, and consistent quality which, and the service support and backing to ensure that in uncertain global networks, their business doesn't face consequential damages. Because the minor premium they may end up paying for DHL is paid back multiple times by the assurance they get in terms of their business cycles running. Current situation is no different. Yeah, costs are real for everybody. We've had a month or two of practically poor volumes, but our network is running completely, continuously well. In many cases, all our ground network is currently running at 40-50% capacity. We've not grounded anything because you have to run a network to provide the quality. So therefore, I need to manage our fixed cost, our capacity utilization, our employees and networks are in place. Therefore, the cost challenges, the need to manage your fixed costs, need to manage your productivity, need to manage your efficiency while delivering quality. It's the same for everybody. So I think at this point in time, what is our focus? At this point in time, our focus is that when 30-40% of the global air capacity has gone away because the passenger flights have been grounded. And therefore, only the freighters, the few freighters which are flying, and that's the only connection to the world. How do I ensure that my flights keep running? How do I ensure that my network is ready for SMEs who want to reach out to the world? And how do I give them the best possible service at this point in time? These are our big focus. Coming back to outreach mechanism, physical outreach for the last few months have been completely out of question. So we've also been in the webinar bandwagon. So we participated in webinars which are focused on talking to our target customers, which is SMEs, in terms of one, how to manage the business during the pandemic, what are the few items what precautions DHL takes to manage the logistics. So we've been in several forums and trying to talk to our customers. The second theme, which for the last 12 to 18 months, which we've been pursuing is not just helping SMEs, but also helping SMEs go e-commerce way. Yeah, because from a traditional export trader philosophy, can they use the power of the internet, and therefore enabling Indian SMEs to go global through e-commerce is a theme. We ran a program through last year called Yellow Yatra. Now Yellow Yatra possibly will come in webinar form and reach out to more SMEs as SMEs open up. But here the idea from DHL is that we come in as a logistics player, but we bring in a plethora of service providers who can help you set up your e-shop, be part of a platform, understand how to market online, how to build a price, how do you manage your shopping cart, etc., and how to understand destination requirements, and how do you play in a B2B or a B2C space on the internet, so that your traditional localized SME operation or a traditional import-export operation can use the power of the internet and can therefore have a larger reach in the global market. I think post-pandemic, e-commerce will get a bigger boost because physical contact and being able to travel and meet and set up online operations is going to be that much more difficult in the coming 10 to 12 months.
Appreciate your candid speak, but if I had to ask you the future of logistics and how you see it, and nobody better than DHL to really give us an insight into how tech will play an increasingly important role in delivery. What's your thoughts on that, and what is the internal thinking at DHL?
The pandemic situation and the aftermath of pandemic will accelerate this. So there are many reasons why this will happen. A typical shipper will make airway bills and will give documents and will need to present documentation for customs clearance, and then they will call a customer service call center, will write a mail, ask for details, and on delivery somebody will, or he may have to provide again paperwork for clearance in the destination country, and you may need to receive a package by signing on a piece of paper. Then I will have to send them a bill, and some of them pay by cash, some of them pay by checks. I think there is a complete control all del possible in this. Yeah, we now have 99+% of all the airway bills being made as electronically made. Yeah, we've given them a tool called My DHL Plus. That's gained momentum over the year. Now it's become nearly 100% on. We're now trying to discourage cash payments and check payment because we cannot send people to collect. Any kind of physical contact needs to be discouraged, and therefore we're trying to do contactless transactions. So therefore we're pushing digital payments and tools which are needed for digital payments. We are now in the process of launching a new system called My Bill, which will ensure that all the bills are submitted to our customers digitally, and they can pay digitally, and they will have 1 year transaction record with them, and therefore all the documentation needed for their invoices will be available online, and therefore they don't have to come to us for papers to be sent, and it's available digitally. So we're putting up a system. One of the things which we are pursuing is contactless deliveries. Yeah, how to ensure that you deliver to customers without having to come face to face at the doorstep, present an electronic gadget to sign or a piece of paper to sign, no transactions here. So how do we make the delivery experience contactless? Yeah, and so therefore then calling customer service means that you need to have people in the office. A lot of them are working from home. So how do you ensure that the calling experience is given alternative options? So we got implemented a chatbot. So you can do an email chat, you can do a WhatsApp chat with the customer service agents. And therefore, if you have simple queries, you don't even have to pick up the phone and speak. You just send a WhatsApp with a number and you get a reply and then you move on. So on the move, there are a lot of management possible. We are in the process of launching a DHL app, which possibly will help customers manage their shipments end to end. The last item this month, we will be formally launching what is called as a DHL Import Easy tool or DHL Import Expert tool. So we call it as Diet. This tool will ensure that the entire customs clearance process can become completely paperless. So typically when you are importing a shipment, there are multiple backs and forths between DHL, customs and the shipper and the consignee, and therefore different types of paperwork and duty payments, everything has to happen. Diet will ensure that this operation communication is on a single platform, electronic. Your clearance can become completely paperless, and therefore the experience can become seamless. What does it mean? It means lesser calls to DHL. Sometimes you have to visit a facility to hand over a document. Everything can be done digitally. So I think we're going completely digital to ensure one, efficiency, avoid paperwork, and in the current circumstance, avoid contactless. Become contactless in terms of our service delivery. I think if I look back 1 year later and say what did we gain from the COVID situation, I think the acceleration of digital transactions and adoption of digital methods will be the single biggest gain from the current pandemic.
Fair enough. I think this is the first time in history we won't have to sign for a package, and I think that's going to be the norm, the new normal going forward. Thank you so much for your candid speaks, Mr. Subramanian. Truly a pleasure having you on Leaders of Tomorrow, and stay safe, stay healthy and stay happy. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.